Alright, so I'm back and I'm going to do a lesson on basic percents. This is a super useful topic for everyone to know. And what I do really want you to know is that percent really means per 100. So when we talk about 30%, we're really talking about 30 per 100. Now, fractions should always be written in simplest form. And so I'm going to get rid of the zeros. So I'm going to divide by 10. I get 3 out of 10. Now, if I take 3 and I divide it by 10, I'm going to convert this into a decimal. And you might be wondering why, but just have a little faith in me and I'll show you in a minute. 0 times 10 is 0. 3 times 10 is 30. When I subtract, I get 0. Bring down my 0. And so my answer as a decimal is 0.30. And I hope you weren't paying attention to that. Here, if I take 4/5, you might say, well, how do I make 4/5 into a fraction that I can use? Because 4/5 doesn't really help me. Well, like I said, it's per 100. So if I can make this denominator into 100, then I'll be in great shape. And so let's see, what I can do? Well, let's say I'm not super good at math and I'm a little weary. I say, well, how can I make 5 into 100? I'm not sure, but I know if I multiply by 2, I'll get 10. And this will become an 8. Well, that's close. Now, I also know that if I multiply 10 by 10, I get 100, and so I get 100. And 10 times 8 would be 80. And sure enough, 4/5 is 80 out of 100. Now, you don't have to show that step. You can obviously go straight from here to here. I'm just trying to help people out. Now, if I get 80 out of 100, that is 80%, because it's 80 per 100. Now, once again, if I take 4/5 and I divide 4.00, and then I put in an 8, I get 40. And I subtract and bring down my 0, I get 0 again, I get 0.80. And right now, I'm just going to erase some of this work up here because I wouldn't need the space to do some work. I'm going to do another one. And actually, I think I'm going to change this one up a little bit because right now it's pretty, it's going to be, well, no, I'm going to leave this one as is. All right, so if I have 0.05, well, 0.05, if you recall, this is the tenths place, and this is the hundredths place. So if I wanted to write this as a fraction, I'd just write it as 5 over, and because this is the farthest place out, it's 5 out of 100. Now, I'm going to write this as 1 out of 20, although it's a bit superfluous at this point in time because I want to write it as a percent, and I already have it as a percent. It's 5 per 100. That's it, 5%. What I'm hoping you're going to notice here is this. If you look at this one, and you look at this one, these two columns, 30%, 80%, and 5% really have decimals. So we don't actually put them in because that'd be silly. I'm going to put them in, not because I'm silly, but just because I'm trying to illustrate a point. If I move my decimal over 2 spots, you end up with the decimal equivalent. Move it over 2 spots, and sure enough, take a look. Now here, I have to move over 2 spots, and I have to put in a placeholder, and I get 0.05. And so that's, I'm going to erase those, but that's perfectly fine, and that's exactly what I want you to see. So if I had, I'm going to give you one more example. I'm going to say, what is 25% of 36? And you might be saying, oh, well, that's easy. I know that 25%. Well, let's see. If I have 25% and I have my decimal and I want to make it into a decimal, I can do that. And so I get 25% equals 0.25, and I get 0.25. And then you say, oh, okay, well, now all I have to do is say 36 times 0.25, and then you say, oh, let's see, that's 30, 0, and carry my 3, 15, 18, 2 times that's 12, carry my 1, 6, 7, oh goodness me, 0, 0, carry a 1, 7, 8, 9, I get 900, but I had 2 decimals. Whew, 25% of 36 is 9. Well, that's an awful lot of work, but check this out, and this is where it becomes amazing. 25 out of 100. Well, 25 out of 100, you should all know is a quarter, because 25 cents is a quarter. Speaking of which, this is a nickel, if you were talking about money, which is 5% of a dollar. 80 cents, 30 cents. 30% of a dollar, 30 cents. 80% of a dollar, 80 cents. Anyway, 25% of a dollar is a quarter. So if I said, what's 1/4 times 36, I get 36 over 4. Well, how many times does 4 go into 36? The answer, 9. And look at that. So being savvy with your fractions and your percents and your decimals is a huge advantage you'll have over other people who choose not to be savvy. Hope this was useful. If it doesn't make sense, watch it again. It's really worth your while. It's only 6 minutes long.